Artemus Toast here, and as I stated in my previous video, I'm doing the NES Classic Edition review. My thoughts on this nifty little console. I know I'm kind of like late, to the game. It's been out for months now, but as I stated in my previous video, it was hard for me to get one, and I refused to overpay for one. But fortunately, I was able to get one from the store. Um, you know, I was about to do a an upload. You know, kind of pointed at Nintendo America, or the corporation. In general, because Nintendo has a habit of not making enough of things. And I know, general economics, you're talking supply and demand, but, they got the demand covered. I think, there has to come a point where creating an intensely high demand doesn't necessarily profit the manufacturer. And then you have a lot of people on the eBays and the Amazons, overcharging for things, because they were able to pick up a few, or which is, I mean, it is what it is. But I personally feel that Nintendo would be doing themselves a favor if they would, make more. But obviously they're a very large corporation, and they know what they're doing, and apparently it's working for them. So, all that aside, you know, I just got it this yesterday, and I played it, last night. Played a lot of the games that I grew up loving. A lot of them I actually have. If you saw yesterday's video, I had the NES Classic Edition, right next to my 1985 NES, and just for size comparison, which obviously it's very small, and also I showed it next to NES cartridge, which it pretty much eclipsed the little NES Classic Edition in size. It it links with to the TV with the HDMI cable. Any of us who grew up with the NES, it had that. Oh gosh, I don't even know what it's called. I just remember, you either had the two prongs, into the, like, I guess, a coaxial. Um, it was before RCA jacks. It was pretty primitive, and you had to put it on channel 3 or channel 4, and there was a corresponding switch on the back, for channel 3 or channel 4. But that's some old school stuff. You know, for nostalgia's sake, I still have my NES original box, everything. Um, and this gets in the same territory as, like, I prefer to listen to vinyl records, but sometimes it's nice to have, um, the iPhone, or digital versions of a lot of songs in a tight space, which is, essentially, what this is on a, but with games. There are 30 games on this. I played a lot of them last night. I played Double Dragon 2. It was all kinds of awesome. Super Mario 1 and 3. They were great on this. You have the ability to choose different video resolutions. There's even a CRT mode, to get that retro look with the lines from the old CRT TVs. You know, all the games. It's really nice that a lot of these games I have in the physical cartridge form, but it's really nice to play them on here. Convenient. And don't have to do all the tricks with the cartridge. If the pins aren't lined up, or the pins are kind of wore out from so many cartridges being in. You don't have to. I mean, well, you never should have ever blown in the cartridges, but you know, nothing like, I guess you miss some of the whole nostalgia factor, but I prefer the convenience over that any day. Um, and also the ability to save. I mean, you could save games, which is all kinds of awesome. Trademark. Uh, there were very few games on the original NES cartridges that some of them were battery equipped, where they held it charged, to save the memory. But those were few and far between, and you didn't get that on your Super Mario's and your, Double Dragons and your Ninja Gaiden. That's a great game to play. I used to play that all the time. But once again, some of those games didn't have the ability to save. Games much like, actually, I'm gonna throw out the two negatives real quick. You know, um, First I was gonna talk about games like Punch Out, where you didn't have the ability to save, but they give you codes that you could write down, so you could kind of you start at the place that you left off at, you know, or also double as like a cheat, much like Punch Out. It's once you pass certain points in the game, there was a code. But like I was saying, the negative, you know, maybe it's because I'm become more accustomed to modern, like a PS4 and Wii U, where it's instant response, from the joystick or pad or whatever you want to call it. Um, you know, all the other games felt great that I played, except for Punch Out and Mike Tyson's Punch Out were games that I played all the time as a youth, and uh, man, it's the timing feels a little bit different, or it's been so long since I've played it that I've been having a heck of a time getting through that game. Just timing. I guess the reaction time is, um, I guess the best way to put it is I react faster than the video game is responding. You know, uh, so I guess that's one negative. And the only other negative I really have to say about this, and I know it's been covered a million times, is the length of the controller cord. I mean, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like 3 feet. So you got to be. I mean, it really doesn't affect me because I'm right up on the TV when I play anyway. But you know, a wireless. I don't know if there's aftermarket ones, but wireless controller would be awesome. All kinds of awesome. Another thing regarding the controller. Um, like $20 for an extra one. I haven't got one yet. I'll have to do that. But I mean, for it not being cordless, and it just seems. Seems like it should be $9.99 or something. But anyway, but the verdict, it's all kinds of awesome. I waited a while to get one. It was hard to get, and I'm glad I did because it's very convenient. 30 games in one small package, the ability to save, etc. And the lineup is great. I'm not gonna list I'm not gonna list the lineup in the comments, and I'm not gonna, verbally go through all of them. But what I'll do is I'll do that. Yeah, pause it. You should be able to get them. Anyway, Artemus Toast out.